What's up guys, Shawnthebro here, and we're back for another episode of the Super Smash Brothers and Platform Fighter tutorial series. In today's episode, we are going to continue cleaning up our items greatly within our game. So we created a basic item system not too long ago in the series. We've expanded a lot of our other logic in that time, and we want to make more functionality and more capabilities with our items. So in the previous episode, we went over improving our items, both in terms of performance and also more scalable by converting things from blueprints to C++. And at the end of that episode, I mentioned that there were two more things I wanted to do before we were fully ready to start using our items to the fullest extent that we could and doing more with them, like spawning more, creating more features, functionality. And in today's episode, we're going to be doing just that. We will be making sure that our items are ready to go for anything that we'll want to do with them in the future. So long story short, more performance enhancements, item improvements, scalability improvements, and overall enhancements to our item system are in this episode. Before you hop into this episode, if you want to get caught up in the entire series and check out how we've done things like our hitboxes, our different modes, sudden death, and a whole lot more, I'll link you to the entire playlist right here in the top right corner of the Platform Fighter tutorial series. Alternatively, if you don't care about that and you only care about your item system in your Platform Fighter, or really an item system in any game that you have, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to follow along with the whole series to follow along with this episode, but I do recommend you watch the other item episodes, as we are going to be building on top of that logic for today's episode. And if you're familiar with those episodes and that content, then this will be a one-to-one conversion. I'll link the first episode of items in the Platform Fighter right here in the top right corner. With that out of the way, we're ready to get started. This is a code and blueprint tutorial series. In today's episode, we're mainly going to be converting the last few of our blueprint components for our items to code. That means we will be working in a good mix of blueprints and code today. To get started, let's go to our blueprints and let's go to where our items are. So objects, items, base item BP. And in here, you'll see that we have our root component, our item mesh, and this is inherited from C++. This is what we did in the previous episode. But then we also have the pickup collider and the damage collider. We have the rotating movement and the projectile movement as well, but the main ones that we want to cover are the pickup collider and damage collider. We want to convert these from blueprints to code. This first one here is our pickup collider, which is the collider for the pickup, or the collider for the item. And this is meant to be the interaction collider, the collider in which we can walk over to it and either interact with it or notify the player that they are able to pick it up. And the other one is the damage collider. This is meant to be used when throwing the item, when if you threw the item it would damage the other character that it hit. It also can be used on weapons, so we have a base weapon BP which has the damage collider. So for weapons like the sword, if we go to the sword weapon BP, we can actually set the damage collider on here, and it's different from the pickup collider. So if this part of the sword hits another character while the item is in use, then it will damage that character. What we want to do is make C++ components for the pickup collider and the damage collider, because both of these things we're going to want to have access to in the code for the upcoming item improvements. You'll notice that the pickup collider and the damage collider are box collision components, or box colliders, to represent the collision and handle the collision checks. They don't need to be rendered as any objects. Let's go ahead and make these components in code. Let's go to our baseitem.cpp and baseitem.h. In baseitem.h, we will create our components. We'll go to where our other components are, like our item mesh. For me, I put this in the private section. We have the static mesh component of the item. Let's go ahead and make a new one here, the box collision component of the item. We can copy the same U property as we have above here. U property of visible anywhere, blueprint read only, which means we can see it anywhere in the blueprint, including the graph, but we can only read it and not set it. But we will be able to set defaults on it. Since we're in the private space, we do need to add this meta equals allow private access equals true, because we can't make a private variable U property without this tag. Then we just want to have the variable itself, which is going to be uBox component. I always go to call it uBox collision component, and that's not actually correct. It's just uBox component. And you can call it the same thing if you want, and we can deal with the conflicts later, but I'm going to take this opportunity to rename this anyway. So the pickup collider, I'm just going to call item box collider. I think that just makes sense. It is just the box collider for the item, or you could call it item interact collider, something like that. or simply just interact collider. As long as you know what it is, this is perfectly fine. I will change the comment here, the box collision component, for interaction of the item. We're going to need an include for this. If we go up to the top here, hashtag include component / box component.h. And now we should have access to this type, and we do. While we're in here, we can just go ahead and also make a component for the damage collider. So back in the code, I'm going to call this interact box collider in case we have other types of collisions or colliders for our interaction. That way we know exactly what this is. And then I'll go below this and we'll say the box collision component for damaging characters, just damaging objects when the item is thrown or an attack is used. Again, same U property here as before. And we can make another U-box component pointer damage box collider. Those are the two components that we're looking at right now. And if we go to base item.cpp, in the constructor here, this is where we set up our components. And we already did this for our item mesh, which is our root component. Now below where we create the item mesh and assign the root component, we want to make our other components as well. So the first one is going to be our interact box collider. And we're going to set it equal to create default subobject. The type is going to be uBox component. And for the name, text. We can call it the same thing. If you want, you could call it pickup collider, so it's an easy reference, but I'm going to call it interact box collider. Put my semicolon there. Then we're going to call interact box collider setup attachment. Now, first of all, I hate this function because setup as a verb should be 2 words, so this should be set and then capital U for up attachment. But that aside, setup attachment is going to determine where this is at in the component hierarchy. In the blueprint, we had it as a child of the item mesh. Everything is going to be a child of the item mesh because the item mesh is the root component. This one's easy then. Setup attachment, and we can either say root component, or we could directly call out item mesh. Other than item mesh being the root component, I don't believe the interaction box needs to be the child of the item mesh. In case we ever decide to change the root component, I still want the interact box collider to be a child of the root component. So I'm going to set up attachment of root component. The other one here is our damage box collider. So damage box collider equals create default sub object u box component. Then we'll call this one text damage box collider. And in the blueprint for this one, we had this attached to the pickup collider. It was a child of that, but I don't think that is necessary at all. I think this should be entirely separate from the pickup collider. Making that change will change some of our values that we set up. For example, our sword. The locations are going to be different because the damage collider is dependent on where the pickup collider is. But while making this change will make us have to do a few changes, I think it's the right call because they're not really directly related. Damage box collider, setup attachment, and let's just assign it to the root component again, not the pickup collider or not the interact box collider. At this point, we're ready to start the editor again with this and change our values over. We're back in the editor now, so we can go back to our items and specifically base item BP. In here, if we go to the viewport, you'll see that we have the pickup collider and the damage collider just like we had, but we also have the interact box collider and the damage box collider separate now. What we want to do is transfer any values from the pickup collider and the damage collider to the interact box collider and the damage box collider. We'll want to do this for all children classes as well. So let's start with pickup collider. You can tell if something's changed because it will have a little arrow here to reset this property. If it's grayed out like these two, you don't need to do anything or reset them. And that means the pickup collider is the default settings for everything in the base item BP. No work is needed for this. Damage collider. Same deal. Nothing was changed in here. That means base item BP is already ready to use the Interact Box Collider and the Damage Box Collider. Next one is base weapon BP. We go to the viewport here. Let's take a look at Pickup Collider. You'll see that nothing has changed in Pickup Collider for base weapon BP either. This will be the same for Damage Collider. And that means base weapon BP is ready as well. Next, we have Health Pickup BP. If we go to the viewport on this one, you'll see that we do have different boxes for our different options. The first one here is the Pickup Collider. You'll see that we set the location and the scale, but that's it. Let's make sure we transfer these values to our Interact Box Collider. So 45 degrees on the Z for the location and 1.5 for the X, Y, and Z scale. So now the Interact Box Collider and the Pickup Collider are identical. Let's take a look at the Damage Collider. No changes occurred to this. And that means the Damage Box Collision can be moved to match this, because remember, the Damage Box Collision is no longer a child of Pickup Collider. We just need to match what Interact Box Collider has, and the settings will be the same as before. So 45 on the Z-axis for the location, and 1.5 for all the scale. X, Y, and Z. Perfect, and that means the Health Pickup BP is ready. Next one is Mystery Box BP. Pickup Collider. You'll see that we changed the scale to be 2 times for all of them. But that's it here. So Interact Box Collision, 2 times. This lock that I'm pressing just means that all 3 axes will change to the same value. If you don't have this locked, you can change them independently. For the Damage Collider, you'll see nothing changed here on the mystery box. And that's perfectly fine, but remember, the Damage Box Collider is not a child of the Interaction Box, so we need to mimic what we saw on Interact Box, which is 2 times scale here. Lastly, we have our Sword Weapon BP. So Pickup Collider, the first thing we need to do is assign the scale to be 2 times on every axis. But that's it. So go to Interact Box Collision, set the scale to be 2 times on everything. Let's take a look at Damage Collider. You'll see that we have 125 location and a scale of 4 on the Z-axis. But those are the only changes we need. So go to the Damage Box Collider, set the location to 125, and the scale was 4 on the Z-axis. But see, I had my scale locked. Don't want to do that. I want to unlock this and just change the Z-axis to 4. Now the problem here is the Pickup Collider has the scale of 2 on everything, and our Interact Box Collider also does. But our Damage Box Collider isn't a child of Interact Box Collider, and that means we need to also double this scale as well. So the X scale is 2, the Y scale is 2, Z scale is 8. Now another thing here is that the Damage Collider had a location offset of 125, but the 2 times scale had offset where it was actually placed. So the Damage Box Collider that we have should actually multiply our location Z offset by 2, which would be 250. And that will put it in the exact same place as before. At this point, we've copied all the properties over from the Pickup Collider and Damage Collider to our Interact Box Collider and Damage Box Collider, but we need to make sure that any usage of them in the graphs is also converted. Let's start back at base item BP and go to the event graph. Let's right click on Interact Box Collider and find references. Additionally, you can just press Ctrl F and search for Pickup Collider. You'll see the component here, but this is just in the list. There doesn't seem to be anything in the graph for it. Let's do the same for Damage Collider. There's an on component begin overlap with the Damage Collider on the base item BP. If We don't have to know what logic is going on inside of here to port this. All we need to know is that we need the event for beginning to overlap with the damage box collider. Now we can do this in code since we have a code component now, but to keep the logic the same in our blueprint with our new code component, we can simply click on our damage box collider, scroll down to events in the details panel, and press plus on component begin overlap. That will make an event here for us. Drag this event to where on component begin overlap is for the damage collider and hook it up the same way. So the execution pin is going to go into this cast and the other actor is going to go into this cast. That means we can remove the on component begin overlap from the damage collider. Now damage collider should not have any references to it, at least not in base item BP. Next one is base weapon BP. Let's go to the event graph. Right click on pickup collider, find references. We get it in one place, which is when we're using the item, we disable collision on the pickup collider. This is perfectly fine. This just means we need to use the interact box collider here and disable collision on that instead of the pickup collider. Problem solved. Now right click on damage collider and find references. There are no references to damage collider in base weapon BP, so we're good here. Next is health pickup BP. Right click on pickup collider, find references, right click on damage collider, find references. No results found for either, so health pickup BP is good. Mystery box BP. Right click on pickup collider, find references, right click on damage collider, find references, no results found for either, so mystery box BP is good. Sword weapon BP. Right click on pickup collider, find references, right click on damage collider, find references. No results found, so we are perfectly good here. Now let's do one extra check and right click on pickup collider in any of those classes. I did mine in base item BP. Go to find references, then select the binoculars to find in all blueprints. This will search to see if that component is used anywhere in any blueprints. If we see no results found, that means we've successfully ported it from the blueprint component to our code component. We can do the same thing with the damage collider. Find references, find in all blueprints, make sure there's no results found. If this is the case, we can safely remove the damage collider and the pickup collider components from base item BP. Doing that will change all children components, so make sure to go through, compile and save all of them. And they should all compile and save successfully. Then we've successfully converted our interact box collider and damage box collider to our C++ components. Now if you are to play your game, everything should still function the same, but it's going to get us a lot of benefits in the future, in the very near future too, because we're going to continue to work on items in the next few episodes in this series. Just so we're on the same page though, you should be able to go up to an item and interact with it. The health BPs and the mystery box BPs just disappear, so those are working. The sword we actually equip, which is also working. We can also attack with it or throw it to deal damage though, and this should also be working. So throw it. You saw it hit that default character on the right, the blue one. If you take one of these smaller swords, you can also attack with it if you have an attack set up for it. We do have an attack set up for it. It doesn't have any damage associated with it, so we won't really be able to do anything there. But you see we can still attack, so everything is functioning as expected. So there we go, guys. That's how we can convert our blueprint components to code in our SSB platform fighter. This wonderful functionality will allow us to do a lot more with our items in the next few episodes, and I'm super excited to see what we can accomplish with these items because it's one of the most fun parts about making any game, in my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode on this conversion and enhancement for our items. If you did, please subscribe and consider joining the YouTube membership, Patreon, or Discord subscriptions to help benefit the channel. I appreciate everyone who has so much. Thank you all. If you ran into any problems following this tutorial or any of my tutorials, feel free to join the Discord community. There is a link in the description, and I would be happy to help you out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Shawnthebro, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, guys.